My name is Alicia, and in this week's live lesson, we are going to talk about how to improve your listening skills. In this week's lesson, I have prepared 5 big tips I think will help you to improve specifically your listening skills and of course some other skills at the same time too. So I hope that everybody can find a few tips, a few maybe different ways to work on the specific skill that is super important. So as you join up, please make sure to, of course, hit the like button and share this video so that other people can find today's lesson. That would be super cool. While we wait for other people to join us live, as always, do very quick announcements. The first one is about this banner at the bottom of the screen that says test your level now. If you have not checked this, our team has created a level check test that is completely free. If you click the link below or above the video, you will find this page right here. So this page will give you access to the level check test, this free level check test. So you can go down on this page to find 1, 2, 3, 4 steps you can use to access the free test. And after the test, you will get a result like this one. So the test is based on your information, your answers, and you'll get some information that is specific for you about what you can study next. So I hope that that is helpful for you. That is announcement number 1. Announcement number 2, if you have questions for me, please send them to me. Please send them to me for our weekly question and answer series called Ask Alicia. If you have not seen this before, I take your real questions. So these are questions you actually send to me and I read them and then I choose some interesting ones, hopefully questions I have not answered before, and we look at the answers to them. So if you want to send me a question, please send it to me, but please send me your questions on the official question submission page. You can find that at englishclass101.com/ask-Alicia. That is very long, so you can find this in the YouTube description for this video, or you can find it in any episode of the Ask Alicia series descriptions. Okay, I think everything is going. Is everybody here? I see some people in the YouTube chat. Hello, everybody. Also, oh yeah, if you want to find me on social media, you can find me, find my links in the YouTube description also. So if you missed it, today we are going to talk about how to improve your listening skills. All right. So are you here, Facebook? Facebook, are you here? Are you here, Facebook? I can't see you yet. Okay. So I see a few people in the YouTube chat. Hi, everybody. Everson and Sanjay and Buena Fe. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Thanks for joining live. We have a lot to cover, so let's get into it. Okay, so let's start with point 1 for today about improving our listening skills. Point 1 is here. The most important, I think maybe the most important point today, perhaps, I put at the beginning of today's lesson, which is listen often. So listen often, right? So this means make opportunities for yourself to listen to a lot of things, okay? So don't just read textbooks, right? Don't just read, and then try to pick up things outside you. Like, that's really difficult. So give yourself lots and lots of chances to listen to things. So here are some ideas, some things that you can actually listen to. 1, of course, media. So movies, TV, music, YouTube videos, stuff you see on social media. So there is media everywhere. There's media all around us. So make sure that you have some media that you are listening to, right? So that means real world stuff to listen to, yeah? So this is something you can easily find, right? You can turn on your computer or turn on your TV and access this easily, right? So this is one thing, of course, you can use. Also, think about the times that you listen, right? So, of course, think about what you want to listen to, but also When are you going to make time to do these things? So you have opportunities to listen during your commute. So your commute means the time that you spend going from one place to another, right? So for example, when you go to work or when you go to school, those are your commute times, yeah? So you can use this for your listening practice, okay? So during your commute can be a great time to listen, okay? Next one then, the next point, you can also listen during chores or doing your chores at home. So chores, reminder, if you don't know the word chores, this means like your house tasks, like washing dishes or doing the laundry or vacuuming, these kinds of things, yeah? So this one, like, I know a lot of people like to play videos in the background. They like to play videos or listen to audio files when they do these tasks. I've seen your messages over the years, so maybe some of you want to do that also, okay? And the last point here I have about listening often is, of course, you can also make listening study sessions. So that means choosing a time in your study session just for listening practice, yeah? So these are all ways to get more listening practice. I also want to mention at the beginning of this lesson today, make sure you think about the difference between active and passive listening. I've talked about this on this channel before. Active listening is really focusing on something the other person or listening carefully to the media, to the audio file. Yeah? Passive is just playing something in the background, not paying attention to it. Many people do passive practice a lot. I know. You write to me, you say, I put your videos on in the background while I do other things. That's passive listening. Make sure you have time for active listening. Don't forget active practice. It's super, super important. Okay? Yeah, and of course, this video every week, this live stream, is an example of listening practice, right? And a little bit of reading practice, but this is listening practice, okay? Cool. All right, so this is point one, maybe the most important point. Make sure you listen often. Don't forget. Okay, good. So let's continue on to point number 2 about improving your listening skills. It looks like Facebook is here. Hi, Facebook. Take a second for me to load. Hi everybody in Facebook. Hi, Tarek from Algeria. Eriverton, hello from Peru. What's up? I'm going to like and share the video now, now that I can see the Facebook page. If you haven't, please make sure to like and share the video so other people can find today's lesson. Okay, so let's go to point 2. Maybe you haven't thought of point 2. Point 2 is read and listen at the same time. Read and listen at the same time. Why is this helpful? So, as we learn languages, our brains have a lot to do, right? We have a lot of things to think about. Grammar and vocabulary and the pronunciation, and we have to think about the topic and so much, right? It's a lot. So it's often very easy to miss a word, or we think about this new grammar point we just heard, and then we forget the vocabulary, right? It's a lot of work. So something that you can do is read and listen at the same time. So this means that you use a script, yeah? I'm looking for my points here. Okay, there it is. So this means that you use some other things to help you, to support you as you listen to something. So I have 3 points here, and I'm going to include a tip after this. So the first thing is to use scripts. So a script, what is this vocabulary word, a script? A script is the written text. So when I speak, if you wrote everything on a piece of paper and gave it to you, that's a script, right? All of the spoken word. So like a movie script is all the words in the movie, or a TV show script, right? All of the words on a piece of paper. So you can use scripts. So this means you read the script at the same time as you listen to something. This can be a very helpful way of catching new vocabulary words or helping you to understand grammar points. You can stop and start what you're listening to. You can pause and read the script to check something. So the script can be a really, really helpful tool for you to understand those small points or maybe interesting kind of pronunciation things. So scripts are a super, super useful tool. Yeah, so use this when you can. Sometimes podcasts have scripts too, so you can use those tools to help you understand those podcasts. Okay. The second point, it's kind of like point 2 and point 3 together, is read captions and use subtitles. I get this question a lot. I have seen this question many times about over the years. Actually, Hugo on Facebook just said, I'm listening to you and reading below. Yeah, this is exactly what I want to talk about right now. So, captions and subtitles. People ask about this a lot. First, what is the difference between captions and subtitles? Captions is text in the spoken language, okay? So if you are watching me right now and there's automatic text right here, right? The things I'm saying are coming up right here. You are reading captions, okay? So that's the text in the spoken language. However, subtitles is text in your language. So when you watch a movie, for example, from another country or from another language, and there's text at the bottom translated, it's in your language, that is a subtitle. Those are subtitles. So captions and subtitles are not the same thing. They appear in the same place, right? But they are different things. So captions and subtitles have different uses, right? So if you are practicing your listening skills, you can read the captions, yeah? So probably a lot of you are reading the captions right now for this live video, yeah? So you can use captions to understand the things that the speaker is saying. But I would say be careful, right? Like for example, right now, YouTube and Facebook are automatically creating those captions. Yeah, so they are not perfect. Like these systems improve, they get better every year, right? It's amazing, right? But there are still sometimes mistakes. So please be careful. Sometimes the captions are not perfect if they are automatic. If the creator made the captions, it's probably good, but we are humans. Sometimes we make typing mistakes. It happens to everybody, even me, all the time. So please be careful. The second point about subtitles. Many of you have asked me, should I use subtitles? Should I not use subtitles? What's correct? What's right? There's no correct answer, but subtitles are a tool to help you understand. So I think my opinion here, and from my experience using subtitles when I was watching TV shows, so in other languages, is that subtitles can be a really helpful tool the first time you experience something. For example, the first time you watch a TV show, you can use the subtitles to help make sure you understand the story. So what is the topic, or what is happening in the story? What's the action, right? So you can use the subtitles to make sure you understand it. But the key is to use no subtitles after that, or try to read the captions next time. So don't only use subtitles, because if you're only using the subtitles, you're not listening so much to the thing that is happening in the language you're learning, right? So subtitles are a tool, but I'm going to talk about this in maybe point 3, point 4, is make sure that this is just one part of how you study. So subtitles should not be the only tool you use. It can help you to make sure you understand the story, but don't use only subtitles. That is my recommendation. Okay, phew, that was a lot. Yes, some of you are writing about captions. Yes, YouTube and I think Facebook, they use automatic caption generation technology, which is great. And so if you speak very clearly, you see this on Instagram too, it will create captions. But these often have mistakes, so please watch out for those automatic ones. Okay. Other points. I want to know all of your scheduled weekly lessons. I have been doing this live lesson once a week at exactly the same time for over 5 years. This is the schedule. So please join me at this time every week. Okay, let's take a quick break and then we will go to part 3, my next amazing tip. Okay, so let's take a quick break. If you have not seen or heard of this somehow amazingly, make sure you take a look at our team's free level check test. You can find this is the banner here. It says test your level now. You can find the link for this from below the video if you're watching on YouTube, or above the video if you're watching on Facebook. You can find the test information on this page, or rather the test access information is on this page. If you go, so at the top of the page, you need your name and an email address to create a free account, totally free, and then you can go down here to this 1, 2, 3, 4 step section. Yeah, if you have some trouble accessing the test, check this 1, 2, 3, 4 step part. Yeah, and you can find some tips. So after you take the test, you will receive some recommendations that look a little bit like this. So if you don't know what to study next, or if you just want some ideas for things to study, if you want some like guidance, like which of my lessons should you take, check it out. You can find all of this information below or above the video. So take a look at that. Okay. Other points. I don't see other questions yet, so let's continue. Hello, everybody who is joining live. Let's go to part 3, tip number 3 for today. Where are you, tip number 3? Okay, tip number 3 for today is something I hinted at earlier. So I gave some hints. Number 3 is listen multiple times. I say this so often on this channel. Review, 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 review. And it is the same for listening skills. Listen multiple times. This means, so multiple. This means more than 1 time, more than 2 times, yeah? More than 3 times maybe too. So what does this mean? Here are 4 examples. So if I had to imagine, like, what if I really, really wanted to study something, what would I do with my listening skills? For step 1, I would listen a few times the first session, a few times in the first session. So that means, for example, in my old listening classes that I did with my students in real life, we would listen to something and we'd talk about the main topics, and then we'd listen again in class. We'd check the script, yeah? We'd read the script. We'd ask a few questions. We'd have a discussion. We'd listen again. So we listened a few times in the first session, yeah? I think many people expect I will listen to something 1 time and I'm done, but no, that's not how it works. Think about how children learn, right? We pick up new vocabulary and grammar by listening to things many times, right? We learn from the people around us by listening many times. So make yourself the opportunity, yeah, to listen a few times. So listen a few times the first session, then listen the next day. So listen maybe 1 time the next day, or 2 times if you have time, whatever. Then listen a week later, then listen a month later, for example. So the point is, you need to give yourself time, 1, to hear it the first time and to focus on it. That's the point with number 1 here. And then give yourself like relax time, you know, time to think about it, yeah? And then refresh your brain a day later, and then a week later, yeah? So this concept is called spaced repetition. I have talked about this many times on this channel. But basically, you need to give yourself the opportunity to learn it over a period of time. So listen multiple times. This is something you can do with like a podcast really easily, or maybe like an episode or short scene of a TV show, maybe. And my favorite example of this is I was watching a TV show, an animated TV show in college. and I picked up vocabulary words naturally. So on my first time watching the show, I watched with subtitles because I was a beginner learner, and that was okay. But I listened to many episodes of the show, and naturally, I learned vocabulary words that they used multiple times. So one that really stands out, like I learned the word, like in this situation, in this TV show, it was like a police drama, like a sci-fi police drama, super cool. Anyway, they used the word police chief a lot in this show when they reported. And I naturally, gradually picked up the word for it, police chief, just through listening multiple times. So give yourself the chance to hear something more than once, yeah? Lots of learners do not review. Make sure you review. I tell you all the time. Okay, good. So we'll go on to part 4 in just a moment. I want to check the chat to make sure it's okay. Robson on YouTube says, I do that with your videos. They help me a lot. I listen to them when I can't just watch. Cool. I hope that that is helpful for you. Yeah, excellent. Let's see, others. I don't see. Mohsin says, after the repetition, the information goes to long-term memory. Yes, that's the idea. So if you repeat something many times as you learn it, it helps to stay in your long-term memory, not just in the short-term memory, right? So make sure you have lots of chances to practice and learn something. Okay, let's continue to part number 4 now. So part 4 is specifically for beginners. I know there are many beginners and many of you think you are a beginner, but maybe you are not. It's time to challenge yourself. But the point is, if you are a beginner and you're like, I can't listen to a podcast, it's too difficult for me, I can't listen to a movie, I don't understand, they speak so fast. If you are a beginner, or you want to build your confidence, you can use learner materials. Use learner materials. So what does this mean? Here are 3 examples. So you can use language class dialogues. So this means, for example, if you use EnglishClass101.com, our team's website, you can listen to dialogues there. Those dialogues, those conversations are for you. They are for learners to help them understand vocabulary, grammar points, pronunciation, and so on. Of course, there are many, many different kinds of language class materials you can use. Maybe you have some from your class, a class you took in your country, whatever. You can use these to practice your listening skills. Second tip here, you can get audio books for learners. Again, we have these at EnglishClass101.com. If you want to practice with these, you can find others on the internet also. So audio books for learners. This means it's like reading a book, right? And maybe you can also access the text, right, of the book. And you listen at the same time. You listen to the book, basically. So you can use audiobooks for learners. So for learners means the vocabulary, the grammar that is used, the speed as well. These things are specifically made. They are made for you, for people who are learning. So it's a little bit like easier to understand. So it's a good bridge to the more advanced material. Number 3, for super beginners, don't be shy. Audio for kids. I'm not joking. Like children's songs, children's TV shows, there's a lot of repetition in these. There are simple vocabulary words in these. It is set to a song. There's a rhythm to it, so it's easy to remember. If you are a super, super beginner or you feel like you don't know where to start, you can use audio for kids. Just do a YouTube search for like English kids TV shows or something like that. You can find audio for kids. There's lots of repetition. It is very easy to get those songs in your mind. Yeah. So try these tips if you are a beginner. Okay, let's go then to our very last point for the day. Whew, I'm actually on time. That's amazing. So the last point for the day is for more, if you are past beginner, if you're not a beginner or you want to level up, my last point today is to listen to a variety of things. A very common comment that I have seen over the years is, why can I understand you, but I can't understand a movie? I make this content for learners. This content is made to help you understand, right? So I use easier vocabulary words, or I use grammar points that are not as challenging, or I choose to use a way of speaking that is really clear. But these points are for you, right? So listen to a variety of things. So what do I mean by this? Here are some examples. So on YouTube and on social media, go listen to a creator that is making something about your hobby, right? In English. So not a learning channel. Go listen to somebody that's talking about, I don't know, the news. Something you're interested in that is not a learning resource, yeah? So go listen to many different creators. Go listen to people talking about totally different topics. If you listen to one person forever, it's not realistic, right? I am not the only English speaker in the world, right? So go listen to other people's accents, the vocabulary words they use, the slang. Like, I learn new slang all the time on social media from other creators, right? People in different fields, different industries use different vocabulary words. They might use the same word but in a different meaning depending on their job, right? So make sure you listen to a variety of things. A great resource for this, I think, is podcasts. If you like to listen to podcasts, you can find so many different topics. You can find comedy and drama, crime and psychology, all kinds of different topics. So find a podcast that you like, and if you can, find a podcast that has a script. This will be a really, really helpful tool for you, because sometimes, even for native speakers, like, what did they say? So you can check the script. So a podcast with a script can be a great way to build your listening skills, and choose a few different ones. And some podcasts are a little short, like 30 minutes. So if you choose like a 1 hour or like 90-minute podcast, it might be long. So you can break it into small parts. Okay. And the last idea is traditional media. So traditional media means movies and TV shows, right? Stuff on TV. Yeah. So traditional media also is really good to do. Generally, I find learners have a hard time with fantasy and science fiction because those use like imaginary words and imaginary worlds. So I would recommend you start with a real life show, something like that. Lots of people like to use Friends, you know, something that is like real life. It's very light and fun, and there are the same characters in every show. But maybe you prefer drama or comedy, whatever, that's okay. But use traditional media to practice your listening skills also. What's important is you listen to a different person talking all the time, because everybody talks a little bit differently. I speak differently from my friend. I speak differently from my coworkers, you know? So everybody speaks a bit differently. So give yourself the opportunity to hear the different ways that people speak. Okay. All right. Phew, that's it. I'm on time today. Woohoo. All right. So that is it for me for today. So today we talked about 5 tips, 5 ways that you can build your listening skills. So I hope that that was helpful for you. And of course, I know many of you like to use this live stream every week as part of your studies. So thanks so much for joining me every week there. All right. Hello to everybody that is saying hello. I don't see any questions right now, but I hope that today's 5 tips will get you kind of going in the right direction. So I have to end today's lesson there, but I have next week's lesson information right here. Next week I will be back, of course, as always. Next week I will be here at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is New York City time. If you don't know your local time, please Google it. So I'll be here on Wednesday, April 5th. 10 p.m. So you can also set a notification on YouTube or a notification on Facebook, or if you follow me on Instagram, I sometimes post a link and a topic reminder in my Instagram stories. Next week, I'm going to talk about questions and answers for work and school. Recently, I've been enjoying these. So I'm going to choose a few key questions that we often use in work and school situations and give some sample responses. So I want you to be able to kind of respond quickly to these very common questions, yeah? So you don't have to think so much about these really common questions. So how do we answer these? What are some patterns we can use? So please join me next week for a good question and response practice session for some key questions in work and school situations. Okay, cool. So that is it for this lesson. So thank you so much for joining me this week, as always. Of course, do not forget to check the free level check test from the link below the video if you're watching on YouTube, or above the video if you're watching on Facebook, to get our team's level check recommendations, yeah? So if you need some ideas for what to study next, check it out. All right, so I will say goodbye this time. Thank you so much for joining me. Come find me on Instagram. The link is in the description. Get the level check test, and also have a great day. Have a great week, have a great weekend, and I will see you again next time.